You know, it's so weird and quite ironic in my opinion that the first four races of the playoffs are at tracks that we expect playoff drivers to win, and then Talladega is a track we expect a non-playoff driver to win. But in this season alone, the first four races we have non-playoff drivers winning, and in this race we have where non-playoff drivers should win, a playoff driver actually wins. What has this season come to? This season literally has me effed up. Hey guys, NASCAR Mobile 48 back again. We're back to another episode of NRR. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing the 2022 YellaWood 500 from the famed Talladega Superspeedway. And what a race it was. This race was kind of reminiscent of the Talladega race earlier this season, where literally we only had one big wreck happen in this race. And it was really tight battling throughout the rest of the race. Really good fuel strategy and pit strategy, seeing how it all played out and cycling back onto the track, trying to stay with the pack of drivers. Also, really tight finishes at the end of the race. Also tight finishes at the end of the stages, which was really entertaining to watch. So what a race it was. So in today's video, we're going to be reviewing our top 10 finishers. We're going to rate the race. We don't have a biggest story of the race, so then we'll skip over to our drivers of the day and finally look at the playoff standings coming out of Talladega and going into the final race of the round of 12 at the Charlotte Roval. Who will make it into the round of 8? We will soon find out pretty soon enough. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive on into this race review. Finishing first was Chase Elliott. What a win for Chase Elliott and the number 19. Started this race in P16, so no, we weren't going to have our third driver in a row to start 19th at Talladega and get the win. Nah, not happening today, but you could still say top 20 or top 15. I don't know. But anyway, Chase Elliott got the win today after starting 16th today. His first win technically since, what was the track? Atlanta Super Speedway. So that's 2 restricted plate wins for Chase Elliott this season, so really good race for him, but also technically his first one since Pocono, but I'm not going to really count that. But let's talk about Chase Elliott's day. What a day it was for him. He just kept it clean all day, was definitely a competitor through the beginning of the race to the end of this race, and he made a heck of a move to pull out and get the win in stage 2, was able to take it away from, I believe, Tyler Reddick and also like Ryan Blaney, I'm pretty sure, at the end of the second stage. Really cool to see right there. And also Chase Elliott able to get the win here today at Talladega. First playoff driver to win a playoff race in 2022, finally, because I thought we were going to go 5 in a row because it's freaking Talladega, but not this week. Chase Elliott gets the win, advances to the round of 8. This is the second win at Talladega, if you can remember back to 2019 in the spring race, beat Alex Bowman for the win. 5th win of 2022, his 18th career win, now ties Kyle Larson for the most wins at Hendrick Motorsports currently, as the current drivers right now. And then this is the first time since 2011 that Chevrolet has swept both Talladega races since Jimmy Johnson and Clint Boyer did in the spring and fall races of 2011. So really cool stat right there. Really great win for Chase Elliott, and congrats to Chevrolet as well. Big win for him. He doesn't have to worry about the Charlotte Roval because he had his issues there last year, but Chase Elliott's still pretty good there, so I don't think it would have been that really bad if Chase Elliott had a not so good race or didn't even win here today. But really good race for Chase Elliott and the 9 team. They now advance into the round of 8. Finishing in P2 was Ryan Blaney, just so goddamn close for Ryan Blaney to get his first win of the season. Was not able to get it today, but he is technically, I'm pretty sure, the second seed in the playoffs right now. He's second in the playoff standings right now, I'm pretty sure. We'll check back at the end of the video, but really cool for Ryan Blaney. He's had a really good points day, winning the first stage, and that was pretty tight as well between him and Denny Hamlin. It was really cool to see that action. So really good win, first stage win for Ryan Blaney earlier today, and after that he's just been keeping it pretty cool. Literally he was getting shoved into the back by Kevin Harvick at the beginning of stage 2, and I don't know if Blaney was happy about that. And then later he pinched Keselowski on the outside line, and Keselowski wasn't happy about that, so Blaney eventually pulled out a line, just like, okay, I'm out of that one. And he wasn't really that much of a contender in stage 2, so I'm not sure who did Chase Elliott beat at the end of stage 2. I'm not really sure. I can't remember, I'm sorry guys, but literally Ryan Blaney still had a really good race, almost had it at the end, had a really good push coming from Michael McDowell, just was not enough because Chase Elliott pulled out a line, got in front of Eric Jones, and that Chevy power pulled him in front of Ryan Blaney. Blaney was close, but not enough, so does suck for Ryan Blaney. But hey, that's now 4 top 10s in the last 5 races, so Blaney's still on a little bit of a hot streak. And also to be factual, this is Blaney's best finish of the season. So really good for Ryan Blaney right there. Still not a win though, so we'll see what he can do. Won at the Charlotte Roval before, even though it was a fluke, but I don't know. We'll see. I think Blaney can still make it on to the next round, just has to stay out of trouble next week. Finishing in P3 was Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell also had a really clean day. Started P29 early in this race, and he just kept moving his way up through the pack. Because literally, this is a driver you just cannot underestimate Michael McDowell at these plate races, and he really showed it here today, especially at the end, giving a push to Ryan Blaney. But once Chase Elliott got out in front, it kind of was it. He was still trying to push Ryan Blaney, and just was not enough. So McDowell finishes P3. Still a really good finish for Michael McDowell in the 34 team. This is his best finish since Sonoma back in late June, so really good for, or early June, so really good for Michael McDowell in the 34 team. First time they've been in the top 5 or top 10 in a little while, but still good finish for them. So let's see how they do at the Roval. If it rains, they could be one of the best contenders there, but still I think they'll have a really good race next week. Finishing in P4 was Ross Chastain. Chastain also had a really clean day. Definitely had one of the best cars at the end of the race. I really thought he was going to take it home and get the win, because he was up there in the front of the pack with like 18 laps or so to go and just could not hold off Ryan Blaney. Blaney had the strategy plan out, and the Chase Elliott just came out of freaking nowhere and was able to get up in front of Jones and take the win from there. But still, Chastain had a really solid day, so you can't really be upset with him. Three top 10 finishes in the last 5 races, so he's on a little bit of a roll. Actually, this is his first top 5 finish since he finished second to Chase Elliott at Atlanta, so pretty cool right there for Chastain to get another top 5 finish. But I think Chastain will be pretty good going into the Roval. Hopefully no drivers want to give him payback there, as we saw from Harvick giving Chase Elliott some payback last year at the Roval. But Chastain, pretty good road course guy, so I think he'll be pretty solid next week. And rounding out the top 5 and 5th was Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin was oh so close of getting that stage 1 victory, but Blaney just got him at the line. What a finish to both stages it was, and Hamlin oh so close right there. But it was also kind of weird to see Hamlin and Byron working together towards the beginning of the race on one of the restarts, where Hamlin pulled out in front and got in front of William Byron. They were kind of pushing each other, and towards the end of the stage, Byron kind of let off of Hamlin. I don't know if Hamlin shoved him out of the way or Byron just didn't want to mess with him, because he already knows he has one coming to him that could happen next week, just saying. But still, Denny Hamlin had a really good finish. He's definitely one of the best Toyotas on super speedways, hands down, so he's able to get a nice solid top 5 after starting 3rd today. So he's also been on a little bit of a hot streak. This is his 5th straight top 10 finish in a row, so that's really good for Hamlin and his standards. Looking to see what they could do at the Roval. I'm not sure where Hamlin's points position is right now, but I'm pretty sure he's in the good, so just has to stay clean next week. Finishing 6th was Eric Jones. Back-to-back 6th place finishes for Eric Jones in the 43 team. What a race. What a last 2 weeks it's been for the 43 team. Eric Jones, I really thought he was going to be close enough to get another win. Literally, he had it. He was leading at one point, and then towards the final laps, and then Blaney came out of nowhere. Chase Elliott pulled out in front of him, and then I thought Jones was going to see if he could make a move on Chase Elliott, but just could not, was not enough. LA was able to block them enough to where they could not pass them. So still a really good finish for Eric Jones in the 43 team. Just seeing that Talladega race back in April, that one stung, and then seeing this one kind of stings, but we just know how good Eric Jones is on these super speedways. Has a really good top 10 record here at this track. Just was not enough, but I'm pretty sure they'll come back here next year stronger and see if they can actually get that trophy here from Talladega. But strong finish for the 43 team, getting a nice solid 6th place finish. Finishing in 7th was Todd Gillen. Shout out to Todd Gillen. What a race he ran today. I mean, literally, you gotta give props to this kid, because he was running like in the top 4, top 5 early in this race. I'm pretty sure during like stage 2, so he's starting to gain a little bit of the super speedway experience and starting to show up as a little bit of a contender. So I don't know what his future is for next year, but if he runs Cup again, I'm pretty sure he can actually make some noise and actually potentially get a win at one of these super speedway races. So really good run for Todd Gillen, the 38 team. His first top 10 since the Indy road course race, so really good for him and the number 38 team. Also really cool to see both front row motorsports cars to finish in the top 10 today. Finishing in 8th was Daniel Suarez. Daniel Suarez was actually a pretty big factor in both the beginning and end of this race. He was making some pretty risky moves and some pretty risky shoving at one point earlier in this race, and I thought he was going to turn someone, but luckily he didn't. Almost turned his teammate Ross Chastain at one point, but Chastain kept it clean. He kept it straight, and then at the end of the race, him and Chastain were both looking like to be a factor. But then once we were like 18 laps ago, they were a factor. But once we got a bit lower than that, and after the caution came out for Hemrick stalling on pit road, things they kind of fell out of the race to get the win for that, especially Suarez. But still not a disappointing race for Daniel Suarez. We'll see how his points position looks up, because he's potentially one of the drivers who could get eliminated after the Charlotte Roval. But Suarez is pretty good at road courses, so we'll see how he does at the Roval. I'm not sure how good his record is there, but hopefully it can work out for them. Finishing in 9th was Austin Cindric. Pretty surprising to say here, but this is Austin Cindric's first top 10 of the playoffs, and we've done 5 races now, so kind of disappointing to say right there, but it's a top 10, even though it's at a super speedway. I still think he could probably bounce back and have a really good finish at the Charlotte Roval next week, but it's just going to come down to the wire, so we'll see how he does. But he did pretty decent in this race. Penske's really good at the super speedways. I really didn't see him towards the middle of the race, but I saw him get some points at the beginning of this race after the end of stage 1, so really cool for him to bounce back and get a nice solid top 10 finish here today from Talladega. Let's see how he does next week. Finishing in 5th was, finishing in 10th was Chase Briscoe. Back-to-back top 10 finishes for Briscoe in the 14 team. I'm not gonna lie, but Briscoe was a no-show in this race. Literally, he started 5th today. And I did not see him in the beginning of stage 1 or stage 2, and he just pops out of nowhere to get the final spot in the top 10 to end the race. Where was Briscoe all day? Literally, at one point, I saw Almirola and Harvick leading the race, and then I saw Cole Custer up there running up front with them as well, and then Briscoe would be like a 23rd. What was going on? But he comes out of nowhere to get a top 10 finish, but I don't think he gained any stage points today, so I don't think that's going to help his case going into the final race at the Roval. I mean, we'll see, because Briscoe technically won the first Charlotte Roval race ever in any NASCAR series. Briscoe, first winner at the Roval, won in the Xfinity race back in 2018, so we'll see how he does there. It's been a while since he won that race, but he's pretty good at these road courses, so hopefully he can make something happen. So now let's rate this race. This race was kind of reminiscent of the one from earlier this year, and these races I kind of rate them about the same. I think earlier this year I rated it about a 9, and for both of these races it all came down in the final stretch. The home stretch, that's where it came down to find out who would win. So in my opinion, I'll give this race a nice solid 8.5 out of 10. Really entertaining. I like the strategy of seeing all these drivers going through with the with pitting and then coming out, staying with the pack, because we saw Christopher Bell at one point. He was probably the only playoff driver who had a little bit of an issue. I mean, he spun out during one point of the race when he was coming on the pit road and lost the draft. He gained no stage points today. Same thing with William Byron, the number 24 team. So that's going to kind of dwindle them a little bit down, because they also didn't even finish in the top 10. So we'll see how their points situation looks here pretty soon. But to rate this race, I'm going to give it a nice solid 8.5 out of 10. Really solid racing here today from Talladega Speedway. We didn't have any big wrecks, and the wreck that happened on like lap 24 wasn't really that big and stuff. I think the only driver who got out of that wreck was probably like 2 drivers. I think it was like Ty Gibbs and someone else, I'm pretty sure. And the Corey LaJoy had one incident earlier in the race. So that's all I have to give it. 8.5 out of 10. Let me know what you guys would give it in the comment section below. So for Unlucky Driver of the Day, I'm going to give it to Harrison Burton. I feel like, just like with Todd Gillen, I feel like Harrison Burton could have had a really solid day. Probably even a top 10 finish, in my honest opinion. Because Todd Gillen had a really good day, and I feel like another rookie like Burton would do the same thing. But unfortunately, you have drivers like a Recky Spinhouse pushing on the back of you way too early in the race and taking you out. So do feel bad for Harrison Burton, the 21 team. Hopefully they can bounce back from that. We have no comeback driver of the day. I haven't really seen anyone in the field who really had to come back from something. I would have said Christopher Bell, but that happened in like stage 2, and he only finished like 17th and stuff. So let's gonna skip over to the underdog driver of the day, and that's Todd Gillen. Literally a nice solid shout out for him. Ran up inside the top 4, top 5. Had a really solid finish, getting 7th here today. So really good finish for Todd Gillen, starting to show and that he's a little bit of a super speedway driver, having some of that experience, and even had a really nice run earlier in the Atlanta race back in July, so got to give him a shout out right there too. And then overall driver of the day, I'm going to just give it to Chase Elliott, because he won one of the stages. He was definitely one of the competitors late in this race, made the right moves, knew exactly what to do. He's won at this track here before. He has the experience and was able to get the win here at Talladega to advance into the next round, so got to give it to the man himself, Chase Elliott. And now here are the playoff standings coming out of Talladega and going into the final race of the round of 12 at the Charlotte Roval. First off, we have Chastain, who has now advanced his way inside the round of 8. Then you have Ryan Blaney in second, plus 32. Chastain in third, plus 28. Hamlin in fourth, plus 21. Then you have Logano in fifth and Larson in sixth. They're both plus 18. Then you have Daniel Suarez in seventh, plus 12. Then you have Chase Briscoe on the cut line, plus 0. And then you have the cut line right here. Then you have Cindric below the cut line, minus 0. Byron, minus 11. Bell, minus 33. And Alex Bowman, who missed this race due to concussion-like symptoms, minus 54. So obvious to say, if Alex Bowman does come back for the Talladega race, not Talladega race, but if he comes back for the Charlotte Roval race next week, then he will have to win the race. He already has a waiver saying that he can compete in the round of 8 only if he wins at the Roval. Bell will most likely have to win at the Roval as well. And I didn't really get to speak about Alex Bowman, but it really pained me when I found out he had to miss this race. And I was also kind of mad at NASCAR because God damn these cars, man. But I bet all of you have heard about that in the news and stuff and Twitter and everything. But that's that. William Byron, minus 11. Think about it. If Byron didn't have that penalty, like if NASCAR would actually have caught the penalty and Byron wouldn't have done that to Hamlin in the first place, Byron could have been, 14 above the cut line, sitting in, P7 right now. But right now he's minus 11, so that hurts. And then you have Briscoe and Cindric really tight right there. And then you have Daniel Suarez plus 12. And then you also have Logano and Larson plus 18. So really tight. So Cindric and Byron both could potentially point their way into the next round. Cindric obviously could, but Byron would really need to get some stage points at the Roval, and then Bell and Bowman both got to win at the Roval. We'll see how it goes. It just really sounds so weird for Christopher Bell that he has to win. We literally saw him be the first driver to advance into the round of 12 from pointing his way in. Was like 58 above the cut line at one point during the I think it was at Bristol. Yeah, it was at Bristol where he was 58 above the cut line. He already advanced in there, and now he's minus 30 below, minus 30 above. Yeah, he's minus 33 below the cut line. That is shocking. That's just the NASCAR playoffs. That's the playoff system right there. But that's the playoff stage right there coming out of Talladega. Let me know what you guys think of it. And by the way, if you guys want to check out my Instagram or my gaming channel, link to both of those will be in the description below. Subscribe to this channel. Thank you guys so much who have subscribed over the past few years. It does mean a lot. But that's going to do it for today. So I shall see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. This is NASCAR Mobile 48. Peace out.